Okay, so I just reached Plat 1 with this Invoked Shaddoll Dogmatika deck, and I just want to go through the deck list and go through each of the card choices and my justification for them, especially because there are a lot of one-ofs in this deck. So first we'll start with Maxi. This card doesn't need to be explained, and 3 Ash Blossom as well. Um, Ash Blossom is especially good because you can negate Maxi with it, as well as pretty much every deck will have a target for Ash. And then we'll go look at the Invoke package. So 3 Alistair, 2 Meltdown, 1 Terraforming, very standard. If you could run 3 Meltdown, I mean, I definitely would, but this is what we have to do. And you have like, I would say, I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say you have like a 60 above 60% chance of seeing one of these 6 cards in your opening hand going first. So yeah, and then for the Shadow package, I'm running Hedgehog, Dragon, Aerial, Beast for the Shadow monsters. So these are the best Shadow monsters, and the reason you don't want to be running too many of them in the main deck is because they are bricks if you draw them, especially Beast. So I like to, yeah, I wanted to keep the Shadow package as small as possible, essentially. And then we have for the Dogmatika engine, it's 3 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur-de-Lis, 2 Maximus. 2 Maximus is something I was experimenting with, and I liked it a lot. I think my percentage of seeing Maximus in my starting hand did increase like substantially after adding the second copy, and he is very vital to the turn one board, the Winterlock board with Schism. So and yeah, I mean, once he's able to, even if you don't draw Alistair, having Maximus in hand, if you're able to go into Maximus, uh, it's really good because you can send Clone and then Clone can search any Shaddoll card in your deck. And then Fleur-de-Lis is crazy. This card is like insane. You don't really want to run more than one, but this card just wins you games. So TKs out of nowhere. It's insane the amount of damage that this card puts out. And then I'm running for the I'm running Nibiru, just one. I was running two before. Unfortunately, this card, I mean, it's good, but it's obviously quite situational, especially to be main decking this card. So I cut down from 2 to 1. 1 copy is still good because I'm running cross out, so it's another cross out target. But this didn't come up, but it is something that's relevant. And then I'm running 1 Shaddoll Fusion, 1 Shaddoll Fusion. I was running 3 Shaddoll Fusion and 2 Shaddoll Fusion, but I decided to cut back because these cards are also bricks if you see them in your opening hand, and they are searchable with App Cologne, so or even with Hog. So I really didn't see a reason to run more than one of each. Shaddoll Fusion obviously is this going second card, but I find that like if you don't have Meltdown on the field already, if it gets negated, like if it gets ashed going second, then it's really a useless card. So I didn't really want to see it that often. And then Al is great. Al wins you games. But yeah, you also don't want to see this card because it's a brick if you don't have Shadow monsters in your hand. So it's yeah, I mean it's like an extender basically. So it's good. It's good to play this card obviously in order to be able to search it. But it's definitely a one of. And then 2 Invocation. I have considered cutting this card down to 1. I think you could make a strong case for cutting this card down to 1 and running a third cross out. I would love to be able to experiment with that. Unfortunately, I don't have the UR to craft the third cross out. But there were a lot of situations where I drew a second cross, like a second invocation when I already had one in hand, or like situations where I like top decked invocation instead of a more useful card. So I definitely think there is a strong case for this card being put down to one. One Lightning Storm. This card I'm playing as a one of, just because it came free with the bundle, and it's mainly I'm playing it for the Spell and Trap Destruction effect, going second against decks like Outlich. Um, I would love to run like Harpy's Feather Duster, but once again I'm unable to craft it, so this card came up maybe one or two times. It's also like something you can discard with Macabre for the negation effect, so something to consider there. If it's just like stuck in your hand. Um, yeah, this card's alright. This is a flex spot. You could probably replace this with any other spell of your choice. One Nadir Servant, I think that's pretty obvious. And then three Pot of Prosperity. I got pot pilled. Um, I I had a streak of games where I was just drawing like the worst opening hands possible, and that's when I decided to make these changes to my deck, and I added the three prosperities. This card is basically, yeah, this card is really good because if you don't see Alistair in your opening hand, but you have pot, then it's like you have a pretty good chance of hitting into one of these six cards with just three banishes. So this card is really good, and it also baits out. Like you can also use it to bait out Ash and stuff like that, which is really cool. Two cold by. This card is amazing. I mean, just the sheer flexibility of this card is honestly insane. And then two cross outs. This is these two copies I crafted after just getting destroyed by Ash. So it's really good. So I really pretty much just consider them as like two additional copies of Cold Buy. And I think Cold Buy is such an amazing card that I'm willing to run this as well. Like, because this targets primarily Ash and Maxi, but I also have Nib as well. The one of which you can target, which I said didn't come up, but still important to consider. And then one Shaddoll Incarnation. This card is a little bit bricky, but you can do cool tech plays with it. And I did do one, which I showed off in another video, where I was able to summon Hog and then flip him the same turn to add Al Shaddoll Fusion to my hand and then use that for lethal. So, and yeah, this card does have really good uses just due to how flexible it is. So I'm okay with keeping it. One Dogmatika Punishment. This card honestly came up less and less the more I played, but it's still good in situations where you like open Ecclesia but no Alistair in your opening hand, and then you just have to like pass with the punishment basically. But it lets you send App Clone to make a lot of plays live, so it's good in that respect. And then Schism, this card is probably the second strongest card in my deck. It just does so much work. It's- yeah, I mean the amount of work this card does for like a one-off in your deck is honestly insane. And then for my extra deck here, I'm running two Winder, one Raiden, two App Clone, one Purgatrio, two Construct, one Ogoides, one Titaniclad, two Macabre, Secure Gardener, Almirage, and Gravity Controller. All these cards are pretty important. Running the two of Winder, App Clone, and Construct is important because of Prosperity, as well as um, Maximus. So that's really good. Raiden is severely underrated, I think. This card can stop a lot of plays, stops your opponent from link summoning, stops, a lot of monster effects. The only thing is he is a little bit difficult to get out because he's wind, so you have to have like Windy in your graveyard, or if your opponent's playing like Tri Brigade, something like that, like Lyrilisk. Otherwise, yeah, but he is really good. Window doesn't need to be explained. App Cologne is obviously really good. And Purgatrio, This card I started using it more and more the higher I climbed, to be honest. And that's because I actually didn't realize that, it's like plus 1000 essentially to whatever its attack actually is on the field because you would have Alistair in your hand. And like once I realized that, I was like, oh okay. And then there's situations, more and more situations where I would end up summoning him to OTK. Construct is amazing. Agoides is really good. Um, yeah, Agoides. Nothing much to say about Agoides. He's just really good. Titanic Lad, obviously. Um, to send off of Maximus. Macabre, 2 of, because you're always going to summon at least one. And then Secure Gardener and Almirage to go into Macabre, and Gravity Controller for Shaddoll Construct. This is, yeah, I began to use this card a little bit more as well once I understood like his use. It's mainly when you would summon Construct like off Schism or something like that, and then you want to add, or like you want to add like a Shaddoll or Al Shaddoll back to your hand, is when you would summon Gravity Controller in most instances. So like you can summon Construct with Schism, and then Construct's effect to send L, and then you go into Gravity Controller, add back L, and then like um, play Alpha game or something like that. So yeah, this is the Decklist. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this current iteration. I think, yeah, there's just some like things you could change, which is the Lightning Storm spot, as well as like to be honest, you could run other cards in the Prosperity spot as well. I was running two Super Polys beforehand, and I've decided to cut them because um, my reasoning is they aren't actually live unless you have a Shaddoll monster. Like if it's your turn, you need a Shaddoll monster in your hand, and if it's their turn, you need to have one set for it to be live. And a lot of times it's not actually live because if they don't play a light monster or a dark monster, then it's not live at all. So yeah, that was my reasoning behind cutting Super Poly. Um, it's a good card, like it outs, a lot of problematic cards, but um, my uses, I saw my uses for it like diminishing the more I played. So yeah, that's my list.